Coldwell has sold well, the Wolf of Well Street is staying, and with all this transfer activity, we can't see the woods for the trees. Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John, I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello. I like that. Coldwell has sold well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's, taggy only rhymes with rude words, so it's no good. So, it's been a mad week in the support of Exeter City FC. Never known a week like it, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It has been, it's been good as it turned out, but it was a bit stressful.
That makes it extra good, doesn't it?
I think it does, yeah. You need a bit of excitement. Argyle, for example.
Yeah.
I don't want to start talking about them too early in the podcast, but they signed loads of players in this January window, whatever. They had all their business done by the 7th of January.
Yawn.
They did nothing since then.
Yeah.
Whereas we were kind of kept on tenterhooks, like right up until the kind of, well, everyone kind of sort of worked out about 9 it was done, wasn't it?
Yeah. But between 4 and 9, it was absolute chaos.
Oh, the whole day, really. And
whole day.
Yeah. So what are the key moments?
The key...
Well, never mind the key moments. What are all the moments?
I'm not going to get it chronologically. So earlier in the window, just to recap, Matt J, club captain, and Tim Dieng, part of our promotion-winning team, sold.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're sold for cash.
Yes.
Real actual cash.
Yeah. Matt
J to Colchester, Dieng to Gillingham. Then we bring in Joe White. We already knew this. Loan from Newcastle. Looks great.
Old news.
It's old news. Since then, however... Oh, and there's Dimitri Mitchell, old news, coming from Hibernian.
Yeah, we'll get on to the match at the weekend just gone against MK Dons in a minute.
Yeah.
And we did see those. So Dimitri Mitchell was in for that time. So was another new signing, centre-back Will Ameson.
Yes.
Former Argyle.
Yes.
And...
He come from Bolton.
And then you'd been at Bolton, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been playing very well for them.
Indeed. Sorry to see him go.
Yeah, so then...
So you think, okay, that's 2 squad players out, 2 kind of squadish players in, maybe an improvement in the centre-back situation?
Yeah, good stuff. And then another option for wing-back in Dimitri Mitchell.
Yeah.
Or full-back, wing-back, whatever. So that was all done. Like I said, we'll talk about that, about how they featured in the match in a minute. But then fast forward, nothing really happens until yesterday.
Yeah.
Transfer deadline day.
Yes.
Dildos at the ready.
Yeah. Or as they like to be called, agents. So I can't even get the right chronology. I should have written this down. Sam Stubbs, again, part of our League 2 promotion team, played a really important part from Christmas to April, didn't he?
We talked a lot about Sam Stubbs over his Exeter City career.
Yeah.
And kind of based around 2 topics of discussion with him.
Yeah.
Where the hell is he?
Yeah.
Because he's got some horrific injury that never seems to quite get sorted out.
Yeah.
And then, he's playing and he's amazing.
Yeah. So we're kind of hoping
he was incredible. When he came in for us, when he started playing, second half of last season.
He was a big part of that promotion push.
Massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
Yeah.
It's something like 12 clean sheets in 20 games. And we were just absolutely flying, weren't we, when he was in the team, and he was so important to it. It was like every single match he played, he's like, well, yeah, don't even bother talking about it because obviously he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then this season, I think he might have played the first game of the season. Oh, maybe I'm getting this wrong. But anyway.
I think he was around, wasn't he?
Wasn't for long, because then we haven't seen him since.
No. No, we were like, has he gone already? But then he kept appearing in training videos, or he was there signing the calendar, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then you think, then Coldwell's sort of saying, he's nearly there, and then he's part of the match day squad.
Yeah.
Now maybe that was something to do with getting him off the books. Anyone want this guy? No, because he's clearly smashed into a million pieces. Yeah, but look, he's on the bench. It can't be that bad. Anyway,
He goes. He's gone for a free transfer to Bradford City.
Yes. So back down to League Two.
Back down to League Two. If they can get him playing, he'll obviously be brilliant for them.
Well, this is, when every time there's a transfer on Twitter, it's like, all the comments are, whoever fans, what's he like? And then it was just like, there was a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I was going to say anything about him, I would say he hasn't played a single minute for us because he's injured. But if he wasn't injured, he would have played every single minute. So that's what tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. I mean, and also I think he's probably a fairly expensive wage earner. So it sounds like a very good move to me. As much as I would have liked him to recover, all signs suggest.
Yeah, and I really hope that
that
he's fine now and that it just goes great for him. But
okay, so he goes. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
First signing of the day was Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
Old McDonald,
34, considerably younger than both of us, but we're not professional footballers. So.
I mean, he doesn't look considerably younger than both of us.
He looks like he could be my dad.
He does.
Kevin McDonald. One of these weird times in Exeter City history where you actually have heard of the guy.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't look like he used to look. So he's been at Fulham, hasn't he? I think that's where I remember him from.
He was at Wolves. That was his big one. I think. Yeah. Then he was at Fulham. He's been around. He's played for the Scottish national team.
Yeah. Played with Coldwell.
Right. Would that have been for Scotland? Because I couldn't see where else that would have been. But I don't know.
So. So he's had.
He's a very good. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
And at 34, there's one main reason that he's here is because he's had a kidney transplant.
Yeah. Nuts.
So I saw an interview with him, and it wasn't some out of the blue thing. He knew he had a kidney problem for his entire career.
Right.
It just happened to be it, and he thought he'd be able to do his whole career, and then have the transplant after that was all done and dusted.
Yeah.
I guess that's just the way it goes.
And he made it to 33 or whatever.
And then suddenly it got worse, so he needed to have this transplant while he was still a player.
Flipping heck.
And so he got a kidney off his brother.
Right.
And that made me think: who would I give a kidney to?
Yeah.
Brothers, I suppose, can't really say no.
Can't turn down a brother.
No.
I tell you who you think about, Giovanni Brown.
If he signs that contract, he can have my kidneys, liver. He's already got my heart.
Hey.
He can have my brain.
Yeah, I think I don't think he wants that.
No?
No. He can have my knees, but I don't think he wants them either. He's sorted. So yeah, Kevin McDonald.
I give him a free drink when he came into my work, but yeah.
There you go.
So he sort of owes me, if anything.
Hey up, Giovanni.
Yeah, Kevin McDonald. So very experienced centre midfielder, and it looks like a very sensible transfer, doesn't it? If you look at it, he's very confident that he's still got a couple of years left in him.
Yeah.
He's like this is the youngest team I've ever seen. That's what he said in his interview.
Good grief.
And he looks like shocked. He sounds shocked. But so that he comes into that centre midfield, which is now Dieng's gone.
Yeah.
As a kind of someone with so much experience. I think he's won League One with Wolves. He's also played international football. He's played in the Premier League. He's got Archie Collins, Kite, Joe White.
Yeah.
All these people around him, Kyle Taylor, if he's back, that are young and that he can there's no way that's not good,
Sounds excellent to me.
Just hoping it's not a Nige situation where, experience, sure. Can you still run?
I mean,
not so much.
Nige never stepped above the level we were asking him to play at. He was a League Two player. We got him at League Two. He had experience. This guy's played
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair on.
I think you've been very unfair.
McDonald's to compare him to Nigel Attengana, but I have. So
well, all right. So then, an hour later, the next signing. This one had been rumoured for a bit.
Yeah. By the way, while this is all happening, I think it's worth adding in. We're all completely stressed about the fact that there's all these links.
People leaving.
Mainly Giovanni Brown
going.
But also Nombe. So it's Giovanni's at Portsmouth, and Nombe to Bristol City, I think, is the one that
Yeah.
emerged on the day. And it's been, you've heard sort of rumours about that for a little while.
Bristol City have sold loads of their players as well, hasn't it? That was why that was sticking, I think.
Yeah, so this is going on. For once in my life, I've got the notifications turned on. I did that at the start of the day, switched that on. So I'm waiting, and then it's like, oh, what's it going to... And it comes up, and you're like, oh, and it's like, oh... Then I got one. I was like, we're really waiting on this news. This notification comes on. It's like, well done to Joe Spencer. It's like, done something on loan for Tavistock.
George
And I was
Spencer,
like,
yeah,
George
right.
Spencer. I was like, flip. I'm waiting for, like, devastating news here.
Life-changing news.
I'm pleased for George, but tell me that later.
So then the next news was James Scott.
Yeah.
So Hull City
Yeah.
bought him for $1.5 million
Yeah.
2 years ago. From was he Grimsby? Or am I getting other players mixed up? Anyway, they bought him. That was Aimson, wasn't it? Bought him for $1.5 million, and then he's essentially it's just not worked out.
No, the Grimsby one you're thinking of is Matty Pollock, which never materialised.
Sorry, I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, they bought him for $1.5 million. It never worked out. He's been at Hibs,
Right.
and
There's the Coldwell connection.
there's the Coldwell connection, and been let go, free transfer from Hull.
Yeah. This was around the sort of time when they were flinging cash around, wasn't it, Hull?
Yes, that's right.
Buying Randell Williams for £1 million.
Yes, that's right. So he's only 22.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored much, but he's got all this potential. He's a big lad who can also play on the wing.
Yeah. I think when he signed for Hull, it was like he was very much on a kind of upward trajectory, and it's just kind of really massively stalled for him there. I don't know if it's injuries or it just hasn't worked or what.
Well,
but-
Hull had a massive... I remember when Williams went there, they had a massive squad.
Right.
So, as with Randell,
Yeah.
you get a few games chance and then you're out.
So he's a big, tall fella.
Yeah.
6'2" or something.
Good with his head.
Is he?
Well, in his games for Hibs, he hasn't scored many, but some of his headed goals are ridiculous.
Right. I just saw his goals in his kind of Hull introduction video, which
Right.
mostly were from when he played for Motherwell.
Oh, right.
I think it was the Motherwell anyway. And they were kind of like left foot, right foot, from outside the area, step overs and stuff. So he looks like someone who's got quite a bit to his game. You know, he's not just a kind of
Head on a
big
stick.
tall target man,
Yeah.
although that will be handy, having the head on a stick.
Yes. Yeah, so some of his headers were like precision from a long way away and going, and I know it's the SPL and some
Yeah.
of the keepers look fairly low standard, but yeah, that's what I noticed about him. So that's signing number 2.
Yes.
Welcome, James.
Yeah.
Is he Scottish or is he just called Scott?
I don't know, but there's a lot of Scotland stuff going on here,
A lot of Scotland
which
stuff going
pleases me no end because of my lineage. But another one with a very... I mean, they're not making it easy for us here because these are very kind of like generic names, aren't they? You know, like when you get a player called like Archie Collins. I know we didn't sign him, but something like that, where the name kind of stands out a bit, or Giovanni Brown. Like some of these are like you've all come in at once. You've all got kind of very boring names. How am I supposed to remember these?
Yeah.
Anyway, we have.
We're doing our best. So that's that. Then Giovanni sent us all into absolute meltdown.
This is brilliant.
He tweeted Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, an emoji of a brain. My brain that I've given to him, presumably.
Generous.
Yeah.
And so then someone quickly worked out that Leonardo DiCaprio's character says, I'm effing staying. I'm not effing going anywhere.
Yeah, Jordan Belfort, that guy's called.
We worked it out.
No, that's the name of the guy who plays in Wolf
Oh,
of
is
Wall
it?
Street.
I've never seen it.
It's good.
Thank you. And so everyone's like, he's staying. The club retweets it. We're like, he's staying. Ah. And then he deletes it. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
What have you done, Giovanni? So then we go into meltdown again. But that was indeed, he was staying. He has stayed.
Yeah, shortly after that we had an interview with Caldwell where he kind of he's thanking the club basically for backing him in keeping our star players, which leads us to believe that there was genuine bids.
We believe we've had 3 bids for 3 separate players.
Yeah, and we've turned them all down.
And Caldwell called them our star players.
Yeah.
So whether that means Collins or Key or Nombe or Brown, definitely Brown.
Yeah. So
we don't know. But we do know the club's turned him down. Colwell's delighted.
Yeah. From a business point of view, it might have made sense to take offers for some of these. I think Giovanni is the only one who's completely out. No, Giovanni's out of contract at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So's Key and Collins, but because they're their age, we will get a tribunal fee for those.
Wherever they
Whereas
go.
Giovanni will go for free at the end of the season if he doesn't sign a new contract.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I will. But like, I think, and it's a rare time of a City fan where usually I'm kind of like, as kind of disappointing as it sometimes is, you go like, yeah, well, we've got to let them go. If the offer comes in, we've got to let them go because of the business. But this one, I was just like, screw it. Just keep him. I don't care. I'd rather, I don't know. We'll go for Project 7,000, whatever. Just like, let's just keep the money and keep him because he's just like the best player we've had for years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it would be such a kind of psychologically like. Such a psychological kind of like blow to the club, and I think they've done well to recognise that. And obviously, everyone realises how good he is.
Yeah.
But it's just like we really need him to stay, even if it's just, and it probably will just be for this next few months of the season.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it.
I agree.
He's so good.
And like someone like, I don't know, but James Scott, that seems like quite a coup to me to get a player like that. He was worth all this money. Now we've got him on a free transfer. I'd assume he would have had several choices of where to go.
Well, look how it goes at City quite often. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but other times you look at a player. Giovanni Brown's one of them.
Yeah.
Who had a terrible time, not terrible, but a distinctly average time at the clubs he'd been at before.
Yeah.
Came here and then has completely kind of like
I
taken
agree.
off, So that could well happen with James Scott as well.
No, but I want it about Scott. Like, he's looking around, or I could go to Charlton, I could go to a championship team even. I could, pick all... And then you think like, well, that team, I already know how good that team is. That I've been assured that no one's getting sold unless like mad money bids come in. I can literally see how I'm going to fit into that team.
Yeah.
And I'll get 4 or 5 months before then the things change. I've got 4 or 5 months to establish myself. And yeah, he'll be thinking, of course he will, in 12 months, 18 months time. That's my step up. Like,
And there's loads of Scottish people there.
and there's loads of... But I just think you're absolutely right about Giovanni. Keeping hold of him and Sam, that's huge.
Yeah.
And well worth the $500,000 we would have got for him.
Yeah, well, that's definitely how I feel about it.
Brilliant. So that was the end of yesterday's business.
But yeah, that was. But then also, I was like, kind of thinking, I kind of like after it had all done, we realised it had knocked off because you kind of see posts on Twitter saying Caldwell had said that. You see the media team have knocked off for the night.
Yes, gone
and
to
you
the
go,
pub.
okay, good. I think we're safe.
Yeah.
And we can like relax. But then I was like, oh, because I've been so much time concentrating on who we brought in and whether or not Giovanni was going to go, and to a lesser extent Nombe was going to go, I kind of forgot about the fact that we didn't sell Josh Key either.
Or Archie Collins.
Or there wasn't so much about Collins. Well, we don't know, but the Key was the one where it really looked like, oh, there's lots of rumours. There was a whole conspiracy where people thought he had been left out on Saturday for a hamstring injury, and then they were going like, no, he's not got a hamstring injury because he did a video where he was pretending to walk down some stairs, and then Caldwell looked at the ground when he said he had a hamstring injury, so which means he's definitely lying. He was like, but...
By the way,
you're thinking, oh, he's off, and then there's probably even a joke. But I think I saw somewhere that he was at some other ground, like watching the match. Anyway, and then I was like, oh yeah, we kept him as well. And Key has had his moments this season where you've gone like, oh, what's happening here? Like he's played him in the wrong position, or he's missed a sitter.
Yeah.
But we've got a small squad, and we're a hell of a lot better off having him in it.
Absolutely. And so that means losses to the squad, departures, Matt J, Tim Dieng, and then Anderson, who was here for a week.
And Stubbs.
But
hasn't played all season.
So what we've done there is...
Yeah, Anderson, that's funny, isn't it? He's gone again. He's gone to Stevenage now.
Yes. Yeah, you'll be pleased to see him there. Jake Taylor.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, yeah.
So that's a high earner, Stubbs, and that's two fellas who...
They'd have been on decent money, Jay and Dieng.
They probably would.
Matt Jay was a club captain.
Yeah. So that's good business on that sense. And also, we've replaced them, not with like for like, not with a step down, but honestly, I feel like with a step up.
Yeah.
I feel like McDonald is a cut above Dieng, or certainly has got the potential for being that.
Yeah. In a way, it's a bit kind of like it's all a bit of a stopgap, isn't it? Because McDonald's only here to the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of others that are only here to the end.
Joe White's on loan.
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
the
So,
season, isn't
and same with like, yeah. So who knows? Maybe in the summer we'll have to go for this all again, and it might all look completely different again. But for the rest of this season, we are set up, I think.
And players like Giovanni Brown, in the same way that a club will benefit getting him on a free transfer, so too will we. You know, that's the summer business that you don't get in January, isn't it? So McDonald and White and keeping Keggs and keeping Harper.
Yeah.
That means that Coldwell's got these 5 months now to find and then persuade the people that will come in on, you know, end of contract that we're the place to be.
Yeah, but I think for a first transfer window,
Never seen one like it.
I mean, who knows about the signings? Because a lot of them are quite fairly unknown entities, and like transfers kind of always are at this level. But for keeping those players, and for which ones we have sold and which ones we haven't, hell of a window for him. For his first one.
Absolutely.
And it's a big hurdle to get past, isn't it, you know? Like you come in, you got your first transfer window. Couldn't have gone much better than that, really. Well, we could have signed Adriano 20 years ago. Yeah. Or someone good. That's what I mean.
And that's really we haven't, for a really long time, maybe since Alan Ball, maybe it is, we haven't had a manager who has got that kind of pull. Like,
do you think Coldwell's getting people in on rep, do you?
Well, I think...
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Well, I think he's been in the game at a number of different levels for a really long time.
Yeah.
I think he's done some good things with teams at levels ours and above. And I think, actually, yeah, like, he's got the reputation, hasn't he? Like, he's obviously a good coach because he's been coaching all sorts of teams at all sorts of levels, and he's managed some good teams at some good levels, and he's won some stuff, as well as being a Scottish international player, blah, blah, blah.
He's had a few disasters, mind, as a manager. But, like, yeah, he's young, isn't he?
Well, we're not getting him if he's not having disasters, are we?
No, true. And also, you know, so far, like I said, this is just a kind of another step in his career as City manager, isn't it? It's his first transfer window. And again, can't really fault it, you know.
Do you know what I'm interested with Coldwell? He's come in straight away, first day, and said, I want to see where we can take this club. Now, the narrative's been for a really long time, well, we want to stabilise and we want to be... Now, obviously, that's partly what football fans want to hear. Like, we can win the World Cup, you know, we're going to be the best team in the country. But because he's done stuff, he literally knows what it's like to get promoted out of League One and be in the Championship. It's just more in his mindset, isn't it?
Won the FA Cup as a player as well. Yeah, I do think maybe there's a bit of that. There's a bit more kind of like... maybe more ambition based on stuff he's kind of done in the past, maybe, you know, and a bit more kind of like less kind of resignation to, oh, we're Exeter City, we can only actually do so much, you know. Whereas I'm not saying it would be Matt Taylor's fault if he felt that way, but he is a kind of institutional man, wasn't he? I mean, as in he knew what it was like at Exeter in the past. Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't like that now, but Coldwell's saying, well, I don't think it has to be, you know.
And, you know, it's weird. I was thinking about Wycombe Wanderers, who were in the Championship last year, right? And on one hand, you think, like, I mean, we all remember when they were non-league, not been that long ago. But because they've done it once, they now feel like they can do it again. It's not like this miracle story, oh, we might even get the playoffs. They're currently in the fight for the playoffs because they can imagine what that looks like. It just kind of, you know, it's just that thing, isn't it? Like, oh, I know what that looks like. Therefore, sports science, and it's a bit of psychology, and it's just a bit of like, oh, I don't want to sound like a business dork, but it's like dreaming big dreams, isn't it? And thinking like, well, where can we take this thing?
Yeah, it's like Harry Coldwell's read that book. What's that book called? The Secret, whatever it's called. About this, about the law of attraction.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like 7 habits of highly successful people.
It's sort of like one of those kind of psychobabble kind of...
The Secret.
Very famous book, and it's about the theory of the law of attraction. Famously kind of gone on about by people like Conor McGregor. First time I've ever not called him Colin on this podcast. And it's about sort of like manifesting things by sort of just going in your own head, sort of going, oh, it's going to happen.
Right.
So you go like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. I don't think It's not an exact science.
No, but
I
it's the
think-
kind of PMA thing, isn't it? Like
Yes.
positive mental attitude. Well, there you go. Anyway, a hell of a window.
Gary Caldwell, have you read The Secret?
Yeah. Gary Caldwell, what is the secret? Anyway, the final part of the saga.
Yeah, there's one more bit of business which actually just turned up about 10 minutes ago.
Anderson's gone home and then to Stevenage.
Yep.
Blackman's still injured.
Well, I don't know if he is.
Oh,
I just read the thing. Caldwell said it's more that we wanted to get someone in so Harry Lee can go on loan. That's literally what he said in the
right,
interview.
okay.
So we've signed Gary Woods
Gary Woods.
as a kind of backup keeper. Yeah, maybe Jamal is. If Jamal is still injured, then
Gary's going to play.
Maybe Gary plays.
What do we know about Gary Woods?
Well, we know that he's not Chris Woods.
Oh, yeah.
The other
Former England goalkeeper.
Wood goalkeeper.
Are they any relation?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Why
well,
not?
it might be. I don't know. He's
come from Kilmarnock.
Yeah, he's been there just since I think the summer. He's been knocking about a lot of different Scottish teams.
Right.
Another Scottish guy.
But he's English.
Is he?
Well, his first club was Manchester United.
Okay, then.
And then Doncaster. So he played quite a few games for Leyton Orient when they were in League One nearly 10 years ago. He played a lot of games in the Scottish Premiership with Hamilton Academical. He played with Oldham in League Two. He probably played against us for Oldham.
Okay, right, yeah. He's born
And he's been at Aberdeen this
He's born
year.
in Kettering, so English.
Okay, well, there he is. So that's the final.
Well, we think so, yeah. Surely that's it.
And that's a loan. Is that a loan or is he?
No, he's just joined us on a free, I think, till the end of the season.
Okay. Welcome, Gary.
Yes.
Woody, as I like to call him.
There's only one Woody.
Who's the other Woody?
Craig Woodman.
Oh, yeah. My mistake. So that was...
Put some respect on the name of Craig Woodman.
No.
No.
Distant.
Wonderful man and footballer.
You really liked him, didn't you?
Everyone did. Except you, apparently.
I mean, I didn't mind him.
Okay.
And maybe I'm rewriting history. I can't really remember how I felt about him at the time now.
Craig Woodman. If I search you, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Gary Neville.
He looks a bit like Gary Neville.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore
And
looks a bit like
was
you.
a good fullback, yeah.
No, therefore looks a bit like you. 'Cause
Oh.
You look like Gary Neville.
I don't like
according
that.
to some people.
According to some people. Some people say I look like Peter Beardsley, which is much worse. I'd rather be a Neville than a Beardsley.
Yeah.
I don't listen.
Who
I know
wouldn't?
this is an audio production, but if you look up Peter Beardsley, just to remind yourself, I do not look like him.
No, don't worry. You don't look like Beardo. And he's an awful human as well, isn't he?
Is he?
Beardsley.
I know that he lost all his teeth because he ate too many chocky buttons.
I think he's done a lot worse things than that.
Has he?
Yeah.
Dear.
Anyway, shall we have a break?
Let's have a break. We're back. Welcome back. You can get in touch with us in all the normal ways, of course, at Big Bank Pod on Twitter, the Big Bang Theory Podcast on Facebook, and bigbankpod@gmail.com too. We should probably talk about some football.
Well, that has been happening and will happen again.
Saturday just gone, we were at Stadium MK.
Yeah.
It's a rancid, awful place, isn't it? I mean...
Milton Keynes.
Well, no, just that setup. Why the hell did they build such a big stadium for a non-existent team?
Ideas above their station.
That's madness. 30,000.
I mean, you've got to have some brass balls on you to move a club from London to Milton Keynes in the first place.
Fine, but have a bit of brain about it. It's hideous. I know we can't see everyone who's
well,
there.
don't forget that they also have Green Day playing there and stuff, don't they? So you got to get all your...
Awful.
You're mainly thinking about the Green Day gig. Oh, My Chemical Romance. They were there last year as well, weren't
It's
they?
the same. Yeah, they were. It's the same capacity as
Like
Pride-
Old Trafford.
well, Pride Park.
Right.
You know, like Derby won the European Cup, been in the Premier League a lot, very large support. No, it's
well,
incomparable. It's madness.
Yeah, but maybe he read The Secret as well, and he's just trying to manifest it.
Winkleman, yeah.
Yeah. Is that his name, is it?
Pete Winkleman.
Claude Winkleman.
He's not, no, Claude Winkleman's the person I fancy off the telly.
You fancy her, do you?
Yeah.
I can't bear her.
Ah.
Stupid
I wish she
hair
would bear me.
Winkleman.
I've no idea what that means. Yeah, imagine.
You'd like her to winkle your man.
Good grief. Imagine your disappointment. You think you're going on a date with Claudia Winkleman and then Pete Winkleman turns up.
I'd rather go on a date with Pete Winkleman. Would I?
No, you would
okay.
not.
Have you seen those jumpers she wears?
I like him.
Okay.
Seen him and I like him.
Right.
Anyway, have you seen the football team he runs? Absolute disaster zone.
Well, I saw them on Saturday, yeah, and because we're playing them.
We were playing them. City
So,
away to MK.
Interesting
Not a real football club.
Interesting team selection.
Yes, tell me more.
Raheem Harper starts.
Yes. Up from the gravy arose.
Basically hasn't played a second since the minute Caldwell came in. And then here he is, starting against MK.
Do you think Gary Caldwell just literally hadn't seen him?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, Raheem.
I don't know what's happened there.
No one
But
told me you
anyway,
were.
he played.
Yeah.
And he actually played very well.
Good. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good
First
player.
20
in there.
minutes aside,
Yeah.
I thought he was really, really good.
They were all over us, weren't they, at the start?
So that was in place of Harry Kite, and then there was also Joe White in there from the beginning, and
Collins was back.
Collins is back. Other than that, what were anything other team selections?
Well, yeah, Anderson.
Anderson.
I think there were 4 changes, weren't there? I can't think who the fourth one was. Anywho, we were slow to start, and Giovanni then, on about half an hour, manages to get into the box, wins a penalty, which on first look is kind of dubious.
No, Nombe wins the penalty, but
Nombe wins the penalty.
Giovanni kind of manages to sort of dribble past about 4 MK Dons players.
That's right.
And then plays Nombe through, and then Nombe gets completely taken out, and it's a penalty. Before this, it'd been a bit of a bad quality game before that. Not much to get particularly excited about. MK Dons had some very good chances even before that, and they couldn't hit a barn door all game. Terrible.
No, indeed.
Terrible.
So the penalty came at the right time for us.
Yeah.
Giovanni puts it away very nicely.
Such a good penalty taker.
He
Just
then
another thing that he does.
Yeah, I agree. He then shushes the crowd.
He wasn't. Was he shushing him? Sort of doing this weird kind of like he just does sort of hand gestures, doesn't it? It was sort of like
Things I
hand
don't
over the
understand.
eye and then 3 fingers. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Let him do whatever he wants.
Anyway, if you noticed, thanks to our friend Jack, if you zoom in on the crowd, there's 2 gents dressed as Luigi and Yoshi,
Yeah, from
Super Mario Brothers,
yes, flicking in the V's.
flicking the V's at Giovanni, and I thought, Yoshi.
Why are they dressed up as that? Could be any reason, I suppose. We'll never know.
I mean, if you're going to Stadium MK, you've already lost the plot.
Yeah.
1-0 half time. We then come out much better second half, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, like MK still getting some of the ball, still missing chances.
No, we're much better. Yeah.
But we are better. And then Nombe is kind of pinging around in the middle of the pitch, and Nombe picks the pocket of one of their midfielders, lays it off to Collins, is it maybe? I don't know.
It might be Stansfield by this point. Has he come on that? Has
Yes,
he come on there?
maybe it was. And then the ball through to Giovanni.
Well, he plays his ball through. It actually just like it was not going anywhere near Giovanni. I don't think it's even supposed to be to him. It takes a massive deflection off a
Does
MK
it?
defender and ends up being a perfect through ball
I
for
didn't
Giovanni,
notice it. Well, I
who
don't-
slipped in behind.
Okay.
Like, there's no way he's aiming for. He's not even trying. I think he's going for Nombe, or I'm getting confused with who the players were, but it's not supposed to be for Giovanni Brown. He just chances upon this kind of. He makes a good run. It falls right to him, and it's a lovely finish. He waits basically till he comes right across the keeper.
Yep.
Waits for the keeper to almost go down, and then lifts it over him, and it's a great finish.
2-0.
2-0. Thanks very much, Jev.
Game over. That's the first time we've ever won at Stadium MK.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant,
Really,
kind of.
Yeah, they had a couple. They had another absolute sitter after that they missed.
I know.
But we did look pretty safe after we went 2-0 up. You know,
Lovely stuff. I mean, that's great. It's a clean sheet. 2-0 away at a tricky ground, historically tricky, and
We're
a bad
pretty good
pitch.
away at the minute.
We are.
Yeah.
But, that's a nice scoreline to get, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which means that...
We also saw a debut from
Oh,
Dimitri Mitchell.
yes.
We didn't see Will Aimson. He was on the bench, but he didn't come on. Dimitri Mitchell came on and looked... We didn't see much of him, but looked good on the ball. Down the left-hand side, I think it looked like to me like it changed to a 4-4-2 when he came on. I can't remember who it was by that point. I think maybe Sparks was still on because he started. That's another thing. And so it looked like Mitchell gone ahead of Sparks and just as a left winger. And then you could see, I think maybe Sweeney went to right back with Key or whoever it was as right wing. But it looked more like a 4-4-2 to me. And I think now probably we've got the personnel
We can do either, I think,
to
can't
do
we?
either.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Um,
And obviously, Matt Taylor, some of his best games in the promotion year were when he did the switch, weren't
yes, yeah. It's nice to have
they? Nice to have the options.
When you look pretty much like we've got at least 2 players in every position now. So, yeah, good and really good result, an enjoyable match,
Yeah. That puts us up to 10th in the league. At one point we were 9th, maybe even 8th.
No, we were 9th, but then Ryan Bowman
Oh, that's right.
scored for Shrewsbury against Forest Green.
So, City sit in 10th. We're on 38 points. There's 2 teams below us with 37. That's Portsmouth and Bristol Rovers. Then Port Vale on 36, Oxford on 35, Charlton in 15th on 34.
A few of them have got games in hand over us, haven't they?
A few of them have, yeah. And then above us, Shrewsbury, Wickham and Peterborough, that's 9th, 8th and 7th, all on 41 points. And Barnsley in the last playoff place on 43. They've got some games in hand. Bolton sit in 5th. They've played more games than anyone else. So it's all quite bunched together still in the middle.
Yep.
Could go either way.
We're looking sort of solidly mid-table at the moment, and
we
I
are.
think that's absolutely brilliant.
I think 40 points on a number of seasons has seen clubs safe. 50 would be almost certainly safe. Or you can't say. I think Argyle went down on 50 one year, but we're getting towards that safety benchmark, aren't we? Which will be a welcome thing to have.
I definitely, yeah. Like for me, it's still the only objective.
Yeah. Well, you get was it Ranieri said that the season Leicester? I know we're not winning the Premier League, but he said our target. First of all, our target is safety. Then our target's mid-table. Then we'll see what we get to. So I think that's got to be in everyone's mind. And safety's close.
It is, yeah.
Great to see.
We've got to pick up the old home form, haven't we?
We have.
And there's a chance to do that this week.
There's been a couple of silly home results that have made the whole thing skewed the whole thing because there've been some home results that have been excellent.
Yeah.
This week it's Charlton.
Yes.
Formerly Jayden Stockley's Charlton, but he's left.
He's just left yesterday or the day before, signed for Fleetwood. There was a photo of him holding up the Fleetwood scarf. He didn't look particularly happy to me.
No.
But,
that's a step down.
it's been a bad season for him. Last season he scored a lot of goals, and then it seems like this year all the Charlton fans have completely turned on him. I don't really know why.
He's
but
the captain, isn't he?
He was the captain. I think they kind of had an issue with his kind of work rate or whatever, but he's massively kind of fallen from grace there.
I mean, Charlton really are a big club in League One, aren't they? And to be in 15th, I suppose, someone's going to get blamed.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, they're 5 places below us in the league, but actually only 4 points behind with a game in hand over us. So we're in very similar positions.
Yeah. So an important game because
game.
we want to be beating the teams around us, or at least doing well against them.
Be exciting to see all these new players, won't it?
It will. It's going to be interesting to
keep up.
See how we use them.
Yeah.
Are some going to come straight into the side? Are all of them fit? Are we going to play do these new players mean the system changes or anything? It's going to be interesting.
I look forward. I mean, there are blokes who stand around us on the big bank who don't know who Jack Sparks is. So
That's true.
I look forward to them keeping up with these changes.
Yeah.
But we're going to struggle as well, I think. I'm going to struggle to remember who we've signed. Never known a window like it.
No, it's very out of character for us, isn't it? It's going to be interesting to see all these new. I like it. It's we've made so many signings. It's a bit like the start of the season, isn't it? When you're like, oh, who's this lot going to be? You know, what they're going to be like. Like I said, we've seen about 10 minutes of Dimitri Mitchell so far.
Yeah.
And then a fair bit of Joe White. And
Yeah.
that's so far so good. They both look really good. Joe White was brilliant, and Dimitri Mitchell looked,
Could have
good
lots of
from
potential.
what we've seen so far.
Fair play to the club. They've gone on about the Project 6000 thing, and in absolute fairness to them,
I think the Charlton game probably should sell out as well.
there's only 500 left on the big bank or something, so it probably will, because they'll presumably bring in a full contingent, are they?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess
You'd assume so.
You'd think they travel well. Yeah.
So that but fairness to them, Project 6000, they've understood the club. It's not just about having nice pasties or making it have family-friendly bits or having a roof on the away end. Obviously, the main item of business is enjoying the football and having exciting things happening. And they've gone for it.
Yeah, fair play.
Fair play. So, yeah, that is a very action-packed week.
Yeah. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, take a breath. So it's Charlton and then nothing next midweek, is there? And then
we still haven't got a
date for Barnsley.
Rearranged date for Barnsley, have we?
Are they still in the cup?
Couldn't tell you.
No, I couldn't
What
tell you.
cup?
FA.
No, maybe.
Well, that's why that one was called off in the first place, wasn't it? So they might be.
That's true.
Anyway, I don't know. But, yeah. It's going to be... January is always a big time in... No, sorry. February, March are always the kind of big times, aren't they, in English football? Something about getting through the winter, isn't it? And it's about coming, out, finding the wood... No joke, finding the wood for the trees and all that stuff. And then being like, oh, here we are. We've managed to do this, and there's 10 games left and the final push. So, yeah, there's certainly scope for success and building on something. So it's Charlton at home, then it's Burton away, then we've got Shrewsbury at home.
Yeah.
No sign that Barnsley's going to be in a imminent midweek. We've got quite a lot of space in February and March, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Love it.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's. I wasn't expecting to be this happy with the state of the squad at the end of January, and I'm pleased we brought these players in. It looks like a good spread to me. Right kind of guys in the right kind of places.
Yep.
We've kind of got one of everything. We've got a striker, centre midfielder,
Yep.
a wing back, a goalkeeper, centre back.
Yeah.
We've kind of just bolstered in all areas. And none of the kind of stars players have left. Really good.
Remarkable.
Really good.
Fair play, Taggy. Fair play, Coldwell. Fair play, everyone else.
Fair play, Coldwell. Yeah.
Fair play, Nick Hawker.
Nice one, Nick.
Thanks, Nick, for all your work.
Still on planet Earth, as I can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week, and hopefully it'll be a bit calmer, but we'd love to see...
Oh, by the way, on last week we were talking about when people work somewhere and then they wear their uniform out to try and be kooky.
Yeah.
I said, I knew someone who used to do their Hawkins Bazaar uniform, and that person got in touch with me to take offence with the word "new" in the past tense. Very much someone I still know, and whose wedding I'm going to. So sometimes you just forget that this is for public consumption. I'm not thinking about. In case it's not coming across, I'm not thinking about anything that I say. It's just whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone
this week, for some reason, I was like, oh, maybe I'll talk about Rick Waller on the podcast this week. I don't know why. It's nothing to do with anything.
Who was he? The large fella who won X Factor?
Great big fatty off X Factor or whatever it was, yeah. I'm not going to talk about him.
Sounds like we've started.
No, I'm not going to. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him.
What was his song?
Colourblind? That Darius Dinesh, R.I.P.
Was Darius Dinesh, R.I.P.
Evergreen? Will Young, R.I.P.
Will Young's still alive.
Is he?
He's just a bit older.
Will old.
Not well old, moderately old. Rick Waller.
We are talking about Rick Waller.
He did that song from Greece, didn't he? Walla, 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 ooh.
No.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.